Welcome back to the Hive for real estate agents. The Hive Live is what you're watching right now. You may be watching on YouTube, or if you're joining us here today, awesome. Thanks for coming in. So as we talk about all the time, the Hive exists to really help agents build a business with clarity, confidence, and consistency. And we're not chasing trends or going after like the shiny objects. We're collaborating with top performing agents, industry experts, to really bring you the tools you need to be successful. So today I'm very excited about this. We've got Clinton Young with us today. He's an international speaker, speaking coach. I've coached with him in the past. Just great insight on communication and skills. A lot of people think that speaking means standing on stage and with a microphone, which it does. However, there's so much more to it. And if that's the route you want to go down, Clinton is one of the best at doing that. And he's also one of the best when you're in one-on-one situations. So we're going to talk a little bit about both, but mainly how it pertains to you as a real estate agent, whoever's the audience listening. And why do I have Clinton on here? What does an international speaking coach have to do with real estate? So one thing's pretty cool. Clinton has been kind of in lockstep with our industry for years. I think throughout your entire career, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. You've done a lot with fortune builders and other real estate. I know you've coached real estate agents, coached real estate teams. So you have a lot of experience dealing with our crazy as real estate agents. So let's just start off. I'm going to give the mic to you, since you're the expert speaker. So give us a little bit of the rundown, what I miss. Just tell us what's going on with Clinton.
Awesome, TJ. It's so great to be here at the Hive and talking to real estate agents, brokers, et cetera, professionals of the Real Team. And I don't know if you have other folks from outside of the Real Team as well. It is called the Real Team. Do I got that right?
The Real Broker is what we're with, but we're broker agnostic. So anybody from any other brokerage is welcome. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's great to be here. As TJ mentioned, I am call it what it is. I'm an international keynote speaker just because I've spoken internationally several times, for whatever that's worth, right? But I am a professional paid speaker. That's what basically it means when you're a keynote speaker, you get paid to speak. Now, some of you on here might be like, dude, I never want to get paid to speak. In fact, I don't even want to speak on stages, and that's totally fine. What you're going to learn today and what we're going to talk about is how you can utilize the principles and the skills and the confidence that you must have when you get paid $10,000 to speak on a stage, but that you can use that in a one-on-one conversation, or you can use that in a 30-second elevator pitch or opportunity to speak at a network event. You ever go to any networking events where they say, hey, pop up for 10, 20, 30 seconds, share your little blurb? Well, you've got to be confident there. You've got to have skills there as well. And there's principles that we can talk about today that you can utilize in any scenario. It could be in a negotiation. It could be in a one-on-one conversation to try to get the listing, right? It could be used in many different scenarios. And as TJ mentioned, I've kind of been in lockstep with the real estate industry for a while, since 2005, when I first entered the world of entrepreneurship as a real estate professional, not like you guys. I've never been an agent. I've never been a loan officer, none of the real estate professional, but as an investor. Working with real estate agents and loan officers and all the professionals in the world of real estate, hard money lenders, et cetera. I've also I've done one loan, and I'm stepping into the investor side from a loan, a lender perspective. But mostly I was the guy who bought properties via short sale back in 07, 8, 9, 10, that range. And I would wholesale them to rehabbers primarily, right? So and then I've been in the real estate investment education space for over 15 years. I don't know if you've heard of fortune builders. They were like the 800-pound gorilla in the world of real estate education, mostly for real estate investors. Obviously, we attracted a lot of brokers and agents, et cetera, that also wanted to either learn how to work with real estate investors, because obviously when you have real estate investors as your clients, as an agent, you're going to do a lot more deals, right? And you have a lot more leverage because you have that center of influence, if you will, that's going to do 10 deals a year instead of just buy their one home. So I don't know if anyone on here listening or anyone live works with investors, but got a lot of experience in that. And obviously I've been the investor working with agents as well.
Yeah, we've got a few that are heavy into the investing world, investing on their own and working with investors. So it's good.
That's
good.
great.
So what I want to do today is pick your brain. I know we could go for hours and hours and have a conversation, really get down and dirty. So I guess we're going to be kind of surface level.
Sure.
So I guess we're going to talk about really two different categories or two buckets, if you will. On the marketing side, like how do we market ourselves as like out in general to the masses, and then once we get an appointment or we're on a phone call or we're one-on-one with potential clients, like where do we like seal the deal? How do we take full advantage of that opportunity? Because one can argue like that's a hard place to get as an agent, especially if you have a newer agent or somebody who's kind of stuck. And so we don't want to squander that opportunity. We want to make sure that we're very intentional about what we say, what comes out of our mouth, and how we're presenting ourselves. So, a lot of agents think they have a lead problem, but what they really have is a communication problem. So where do you see most agents, getting this wrong? Like,
great question. So I'm just taking some notes here. What I'd love to do, what I think will add the most value to not only the viewers and listeners of this that will see it online, but most importantly, also the people that are actually here. So are you okay if I engage and kind of interact with
100%?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rachel, Frank, James, feel free to come off mute or just kind of raise your hand so I can see. I would love to hear around, like, what was the main reason when you got the email from TJ, besides the fact that he's a cool dude and always provides a ton of value? What was the main reason why you said yes to attending today? And what were you hoping to get from this conversation? Because as it relates to communication, and specifically, I want you to think about like, what's the quote unquote pain that I'm experiencing in my business, or maybe it's not a pain, but just something you want to get better at because you see it as a way for you to grow. What had you say yes to be here today? James, you look like you came off mute.
Yeah. I would say this, that it's the initial salvo over a phone to a total stranger. That not to sound salesy, pitchy. Wait a second. Yeah, not to sound salesy or pitchy, but just, it's that initial salvo. How do you get your foot in the door with a quick one-word sentence? I mean, not just a quick sentence or two,
Yeah. So you're speaking about people that have
Cold
a house
calls.
that they want to list potentially, and you want to be the listing agent?
Or buyers. Sellers or buyers.
What's the more common scenario that you're having most challenge with? Buyers or sellers?
Sellers.
Okay. So how did you, in this fictitious but yet very real example, where do you typically get that lead from? Where did they come from, this particular person?
A third party source that source names and addresses from and phone numbers.
Got it. So people that have parameters or something about their situation says they might be willing to sell right now, but you're not sure they want to sell. Okay. So like a cold lead source, basically. And are you reaching out to them via phone call, or how are you reaching out to them?
Phone calls are always first. It goes to voicemail. I leave a voicemail and I shoot them a text with some contact information. And then I'll follow up with them later. So another phone call, then eventually an email.
Okay.
To try to get in touch with them.
And what are you finding is happening? Are you not getting people to respond, or are you getting people to respond and then you have the conversation and you don't close the deal? Where's the biggest pain?
Well, the answer percentage is really low to begin with. I leave a lot of voicemails, and I don't get many callbacks. So I think there might be a messaging thing in the voicemail that I'm not getting a call to action to return it or to answer my phone call the next time. When I get them on the phone, it's not quite as bad. A lot of times they wonder how I got their information. But I think it's just getting the contact form, to answer the phone more than anything else.
Okay. Got it. And I'm sure TJ's got some ideas firing off as well that he can kind of lace in here. Thank you. We're going to come back to you. Do you go by James?
Yeah, I'll go by James. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. How about Rachel or Frank? What is the biggest reason why you said yes to coming here? And what's your biggest kind of pain point, if you will, in this world of communication?
So I've said it before, but I tend to be really straightforward. My husband is way better at being engaging. And so like being engaging, but also being able to like pivot where it's like, oh no, I'm not interested. You know, a lot of times for me, it's like, oh, okay, you know, so being able to kind of pivot the conversation and maybe kind of steer the conversation better rather than just being like, okay, fine, you know.
Got it. And you're talking specifically about what type of person that you're talking to and what medium?
Yeah, so normally it's on the phone, and it's usually people who have engaged with our website and either would like a home tour or they want more information about a home. And so I call them back, and you know, typically it'll be like, well, is it for rent? And it's like, well, no, it's not for rent. That's why it's for sale. You know, that's why it's on the website for sale. So just kind of like being able to continue that conversation. People who maybe aren't quite sure what they want or thought that it was one thing, but you know, thought it was a rental, but it's actually for sale. Being able to pivot and kind of say like, okay, well, what is it that you're looking for? Or kind of engage so that they stay on the line so that you can kind of give them your pitch.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, we're going to dive into that. And then Frank, why don't you round us out? What was the main reason that brought you here today for this conversation?
I find that I'm far better at connecting with people in person than over the phone or over a video conference like this. I think the phone is a difficult thing for me to really connect with somebody. So if there's some tips you can give about how I can do a better job of drawing people in and showing them I could be someone worth connecting with, that next step in the communication funnel, i.e., hopefully a meeting, that would be helpful for me.
Okay, perfect. TJ, anything you want to add or anything you want to dive in on one of these before I?
Yeah, I'll just in general, I think that as a group or as an industry of real estate agents, we're like looking for that. What's that magic line? You know, what's that script that's going to 100% work every single time? I mean, if that existed, that would be amazing. You know, you and I might not have the best of time keeping our jobs, so to speak, because you know it'd be that magic bullet. So I know that it's more of a tone and how you make people feel. So yeah, so I'd love to hear your thoughts of like digging into that. Like, how do you get somebody's attention in the 5 seconds or less that you have to really
Yeah.
to kind of get behind the wall or break the wall? Because you especially I heard somebody saying, I apologize to whoever said it. I want to give credit where credit's due, but somebody said we're in a trust recession right now. So how do we like, it's even harder to build trust
Yeah.
as it was even just a couple of years ago. It was a lot easier over the phone or in a quick, when you're doing your elevator pitch kind of thing. So that's
Yeah.
my thoughts.
These are all really, really good, good ideas and good questions. And we're going to dive into this right now. I'm going to kind of go macro and then we can drill down into micro of your situations. I know that I just asked you these questions and I won't go directly to answering the questions, but we're going to answer them broadly, principle based. And then please raise your hand or just get my attention if you have a follow-up or if your question's not getting answered. And I just want to check time. How much time do we have for this? I want to make sure we stay.
Yeah, we usually go for about an hour. So
Perfect.
right for another 45 minutes, I'd say.
Okay, perfect. So just raise your virtual hand if you have a question or you want to kind of interrupt where I'm going. But first thing, you just mentioned the sort of trust economy. And you're absolutely right. People have their guard up right now. People have their defenses up and people need to trust, right? Especially when they're going to be working with somebody with they're probably their greatest asset, their home, or they want to acquire something so large as a home. So some ideas that you can do right out of the gate, and it takes a little extra work, but you're going to want to research the people that you're calling. And I know this sounds goofy if you're calling like a cold list. Are you on like an auto dialer situation where it's dialing like 3 people at a time, and then somebody picks up. I don't know if you've ever used one of those before. So you don't have time to actually do 2 minutes of research, or are you actually just doing it one by one, an individual person?
One by one.
One by
I got
one.
a list.
Perfect. So you've got one by one. What you might consider doing is doing a little bit of research on these people. And a real easy way to do that, and you're not going to find it on everybody. Some people don't have any information online, but have you ever used any sort of AI tool, search tool like Perplexity or ChatGPT that you can get free versions? Okay. Do you use any of those regularly, James?
I use ChatGPT the most.
Okay, cool. So have you ever said, really quick right now in Perplexity, let's just for kicks, you said I can share my screen, right?
Yeah, you should be able to. If you can't, I'll make you host or co-host.
Hold on one sec here. You guys are going to see all my past searches. I have nothing to hide. I have no idea what I have on the left, though. I use this for everything. I use Perplexity as sort of my dump ball because I don't really want it to learn a lot about me. I use ChatGPT to like learn everything about me. So it's almost like my coach. But Perplexity, I will literally ask, like, what time is the post office open? Or can I feed broccoli to my dog? Like really goofy stuff like that. So please bear with me for whatever you see here on the left-hand side. Okay, so Perplexity, boom. You should be able to see my screen.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So James, where do you live?
I live in Atlanta.
Okay. And you work with, is it called Real Brokers?
Mm-hmm.
Real Broker.
In Atlanta, Georgia. The top 10 things to note so I can build rapport. Now, I have no idea what it's going to come back with. I don't even know if it's going to be able to find you. I don't know if you have a LinkedIn or if you have much going on online, but tell me if any of this is true. He works in Atlanta real estate with Real Brokers. So talking about the Atlanta market neighborhoods. Okay, that's obvious. Describes himself as motivated, hardworking, high energy, and driven. So matching his pace and keeping your conversation positive and action oriented will likely land well. He's been with Real Brokers since 2022. Previously worked with EXP. Is any of this accurate so far?
Yeah, 22 is it's close. I think it's
close.
23, but yeah, it's close.
Good enough. Civic
Went to
says
Auburn.
the Real Brokerage matched his goals better. So asking what about the culture or model appealed to him, could build rapport quickly. He studied at Auburn University, so Auburn football campus. Is any of that true? Did you go to Auburn?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Before real estate, he spent years in restaurant management. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay. So did TJ. TJ's kind of a restaurant guy.
That's how we met.
Yeah, that's where we met.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, there's immediately a connection. Hey, I know this guy TJ. Do you know TJ? He was in the whatever hospitality space as well. Okay, so he manages business development through a real estate expert. Blah blah blah. His public activity leans toward listings, mortgage rate. Okay. His profile language emphasizes matching buyers. Okay. So is that at all useful for you to be able to find one thing that you can have a connection with that person? Obviously it's you, but
yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. So this would be a great way for you to literally just pop that in, like in for whoever you're calling. Now, if there is stuff online and you know anything, do you know anything about personality profiles?
Like the Venn diagram, stuff like that.
No, like more like disc profile or Myers.
A little bit,
Briggs.
not enough to talk about it.
Okay. It's totally okay, even if you don't, because check this out. Let's just see. So I'm typing in, if anybody's not seeing this, what would you guess his disc profile is, and how would you recommend I communicate with him so as to make the quickest connection? Now, it may or may not know what the answer is here, but it'll probably make a guess. My best guess is that he leans DI, which means dominant and influencer. So this just means you're high drive, high energy, you're outgoing, action oriented, with enough people focused to sell and manage relationships well. I communicate with him in direct, upbeat, efficient way that shows confidence and momentum rather than lots of detail upfront. Right. So the more you know about yourself, and I would highly recommend you take the disc profile or you take the flow profile, which is another one, so that you learn more about yourself and you understand that different people communicate differently. So you might say the same script, because, TJ said, is there a magic script? Yeah, there might be, but not really. There's not really a magic script. And even if there was, you'd want to modify it slightly depending on who you're speaking to, because people communicate differently and people receive communication differently. So if you did want to learn more about the DISC profile, I mean, there's literally, if somebody's a high D, this is their profile language, what it emphasizes: being driven, motivated, hardworking, and high energy. If they're high I, also strong, real estate success, plus this hospitality background suggests who lightly connects well through rapport, enthusiasm, and people skills, right? So you can learn more about what these typically mean outside of real estate as well, just so you can understand the profile. You don't have to use that, but does anyone see how how long did that take me? That took me longer to talk about it than it did for me to do the actual action, right? It took me 10 seconds to type those in there. Does anyone, show of hands, see that would be useful for you to find one little bridge that you can make a connection with? Yes?
Yeah, 100%. And I use AI, multiple platforms of AI every single day. I never once thought to do this with it. So this is great. I don't know how efficient it would be if you have a list of 150 numbers that you're calling. But I mean, if you get to, definitely before you go on an appointment or before you meet somebody face to face, this is going to be part of my standard operating procedure from now on.
100%.
This is great.
Like this would, if you only have a list of numbers and you don't even have the names, and obviously you can't do this. But this would be super helpful, like TJ's mentioning, is you want to make sure you close that deal, right? You're going to go and meet with a buyer. You want to know how they communicate, because if you go in and let's say you're a high C that's really all about details, or you could use any other profile that's just very detail oriented, and that's just who you naturally are, you're naturally going to go in with a certain approach. And you might be talking to someone that's a high D that's like, dude, just the facts, ma'am. Like, I want the bottom line. I don't need all the fluffy details. What's the price? What are the biggest selling features? Why should I buy this? They want to know the bottom line. You do a quick search on them, and it's not always going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to pitch you on the green and give you the ability to build that little bridge, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. We all know this, right? So you've got to find ways to build that trust and build that rapport very, very quickly. Is that useful? Any follow-up questions to that?
I mean, that's pretty streamlined, pretty straightforward, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I make 150 calls a day, but I make 15 calls that I don't know. And I can see doing that. Boom, 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 boom. It gave me a little breather between calls.
But I have kind of a follow-up question, because we're talking about now phone call. Like, I see that as very useful if you're going, you get the appointment and you're like, okay, I'm going to try to lock this in by really going deeper.
Yep.
So if you have the list, even if it's 15, 20 people that you're calling, you have a name and a phone number, maybe an email. What's it? We talk about like, not disruptors, but like pattern disrupts. So give us some pattern disrupts for when we pick up the phone, we get somebody to answer. And we're like, oh my God, somebody answered, because we're getting more rare nowadays also. But so they answer, hello, like, hey, this never works. Hey, this is TJ. How are you today? Like, they're like, click.
100%.
Who are you, and why do I have to tell you how I am?
I'm going to answer your question with a question first. What is the biggest pain of the person you're calling? So tell me who we're calling. Is it a buyer or a seller? Who are we calling? And what's their biggest pain in this fictitious example?
Yeah. Well, oftentimes it feels like we're the biggest pain interrupting their day. So I would say, so I do, for example, I do pay-per-clicks. So if somebody registered on my website, they may or may not want more information. And I'm surprised at how many people actually fill out forms and they're not expecting a call. That says a lot about agents that don't follow up with the forms people fill out. But it also says a lot about how many forms we're actually filling out. I tried to pay attention to a couple of days out of last week or so, and it's a lot of people are filling out these forms, and rarely do I get any communication back. Maybe a text or an email, or I get the thing that I wanted, but nobody's really calling. So people are like surprised that you're calling them.
So the scenario is a buyer or a seller.
Let's say buyer in this case. Just for me. So, I'm doing a lot of pay-per-clicks.
Clicked on your pay-per-click. a potential buyer. They're not expecting a call back. So what TJ is talking about around pattern interrupt, it's so important that, have you ever like driven to work or driven somewhere and you get there and you're like, holy crap, how did I get here? Like you totally don't even, your subconscious mind is driving. I don't know if you know this, but only about 5% of our conscious brain is responsible for our day-to-day thoughts, feelings, bodily functions, everything. 5%, or literally 95% of us and our life is driven by our unconscious mind. So what happens is, whether you're in a when you're in a conversation with a buyer or seller, in this scenario, buyer, they're going to immediately put you in the salesperson role, the salesperson bucket. Like subconsciously, it's just happening. And you know why? Because you're probably saying things that thousands of other people that are trying to sell them something have said in the past. So whether you they know it or not, subconsciously, boom, you're in the you're trying to sell me bucket. Right? So a pattern interrupt is almost like a groove on a record. You want to take the needle and like scratch the freaking record and pick it up and put it somewhere else. So how could you do that? Well, one example is you come onto the call, and what their greatest pain might be is you, like TJ saying, he said it as a joke, but it might be true. But I would also ask you to really consider, what is their real pain? What is it? Is it that there's too many listings, or there's not enough clarity, or they don't know what it is they want, or they don't have confidence that they could actually buy it because they're not actually qualified yet, or they haven't looked at their numbers, or they don't know where to search, or what is their pain? I would really get curious about what their number one pain is. Does something come up for you, TJ?
Yeah, well, I'll seriously answer that question, because it's really, well, I mean, there's different, like some people are looking and maybe their agents on vacation. They're like just trying to figure out some information. That's like kind of rare. I would say for pay-per-clicks, when I call them right away, they haven't spoken to a lender. They're just kind of looking at things. They don't know that they probably need a real estate agent to help them. And they're in that where I can do it on my own. Like I'm just looking right now is really what the biggest response I get. And like peeling away the layers of the onion, then you start to get the pain points.
Yeah.
Where typically it's like they're in a situation with their current housing, whether it's their lease is coming up, or they want to be closer to their newborn grandkid, or something. There's something is driving them where like something is the grass is greener. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So people, a lot of times, this is a great quote by Maya Angelou. She says, people don't remember what you say. They don't remember what you do, but they always remember how you make them feel. Right. And what I want to point to inside of that quote is, when you're just saying things, they're not going to remember. You've got to find a way to make them feel something. So the reason why I asked you about what's their pain is you want to ask questions. And this goes to a lot of, Rachel, this is your question as well. You want to ask questions. Don't tell them about anything. Ask them questions and get them talking, right? And a way to do a pattern interrupt is maybe you ask a funny question that's like speaks directly to either their pain or the fact that you're the pain. Right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a funny question about them getting a random call or a comment about that, and get them to respond, get them to say something, but then make sure you have another question after they laugh for a second to come right back in and hit their actual pain. Like, what is their pain? So what are some of your ideas? This goes for anybody, of a pain that they would definitely have, because check this out. People don't care about your solution. Unfortunately, you're probably a commodity. If there's one agent, there's two agents, there's 25 agents, there's 1,000 agents. So how do you break through that? You've got to speak to their pain, and you've got to show them that you understand their pain probably better than they do, because this is what you study. This is your gift. This is your job. This is your business, right? They're a lot of times experiencing the pain, but they can't even articulate it because they haven't really like diagnosed it. They haven't really looked at it. But once you say it, they're like, I think I have that. Right. So as a speaker from stage, I teach, TJ and I have worked together for a while, and, he probably teaches people now at this point the same things that he's learned is when you get on stages, you want to ask a few questions. How many of you are experiencing this? Who's experiencing this? And you want to hit everyone in the room, and you're speaking to their pain. You're not saying, hey, I do this or I do this. You say, who's experiencing this pain? How about this pain? Right? You want to get everyone to say, I have that pain. And now everybody's locked in. You've ever been in an audience where someone just gets up there and starts talking about themselves and starts giving you data and content? You're checked out. You're checking your phone. But when they say something that has you go, wait a minute, I have that pain. Hold on, I should probably pay attention. I should probably lean in and see if there's something in it for me, right? The great radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? So you need to think about what's in it for them, especially when you're interrupting them at dinner or at lunch or during the day or they're at work. You need to find a way to pierce that and not fall into the bucket of, oh, this is another salesperson. So you definitely don't want to say, hi, this is Clinton from Real Broker or whatever. How's your day going? No, because they're just going to be like, click, or they're going to be like, oh, frick, someone's trying to sell me something. Find a way, and maybe we could brainstorm it here, to say something that's going to sort of jostle them or make them not put you in that bucket. Anything to not put you in that bucket of sales. So who has an idea of something that you could say right out of the gate? And maybe it speaks to their pain.
I can go, but I'll give somebody else a chance.
I just got a funny one that popped in my head, and this probably wouldn't work 9 times out of 10, but who knows? Be like, hey, did you order a pizza? Right? And just kidding. This is TJ. I understand you might be wanting to sell your home. Is that true? Is that true? So you're trial closing constantly. You never want to ask a yes, no question without saying, is that true? Because you want them to respond. Okay, tell me more about that. Why do you think you want to sell? And maybe you weave in a quick stat that speaks to their pain. Is there a statistic in the market that would incentivize for them to want to sell, depending on what the market's doing? Weave in something really quick. Now, immediately you've pattern interrupted them. Did you order a pizza? Right? Totally joking. So now you're not in the sales bucket. Hey, I heard that you might want to be selling your home. Is that true? Okay. They're like, wait a minute. Oh, how'd you hear that? Oh, wait. Yeah. I'm just curious, based on XYZ statistic, like it's smart to want to sell. I'm curious. Is that true? Right. So now you're layering in, oh, wait, this is an authority. They actually know something that I don't know. And they just taught me something in 2 seconds. And it doesn't have to be massively impactful, but something that elevates you. Oh, in my experience, I've helped X number of people this year buy their first home. Another little stat about you, whatever that is, and you're layering it in. I'm just curious if you could sell your home and make X amount of profit or whatever. I don't know what the exact scenario is for you. You'd have to come up with these little bits. I'm just giving you sort of the Mad Libs framework. If you could blank, 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 and I can help you do that, like, would you consider selling your home right now? Right, so are you seeing how I'm asking questions? What are you all present to right now? What's coming up for you?
I mean, it's really like most people are going in with like spewing a verbal resume on them. So like by peppering something in, it's like, oh yeah, I've helped in this neighborhood. I've helped 10 of your neighbors sell this house. I love this. I know exactly your house. I can picture it, whatever the thing is. So like peppering that in with like, tell me you're a badass real estate agent without telling me you're a badass real estate agent. Kind of those, exactly. To go back to the memes, that kind of thing. That's what I'm picking up from what you're saying.
That's perfect. Another way to do that. It's a great observation, TJ, and that's absolutely true. You never want to sit there and blah, blah, blah about yourself, but you can weave in, oh, in my experience, or, hey, I was working with a guy actually on your street. I helped him sell. Do you know 123 Main Street? Yeah, I actually helped him sell his house or buy it, whatever it is, right? That you can, again, you're building rapport. People like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And when they know you've done business in that market, they're going to immediately, there's a bridge, right? And it also plants a leg under the table of credibility for you without sitting there spewing your resume. Just weave it in. And a lot of times weaving it in through the use of story of a success of somebody that's like them is going to be the best way to weave in your credibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and like you say, you mentioned also asking questions. I think that's key. Like, and beyond the standard question, I don't know how many people are familiar with LP Mama. Like, look, you got to get the location. Like, this is, you are looking at 123 Main Street. Is this the area that you want to be in? And then the price, it's $500,000. Is that the range that you want to be in? That's kind of like, those questions are just, I don't know if they're played out, but it's a script that we all have that I think the public has kind of picked up on, especially once they start looking, they're going to get that script probably 5 or 6 times, depending on how many different platforms they put their name into. So I think just not starting with that, because all that information comes out in conversation. So just asking them questions about what is it, what has you thinking about moving, or what, are you renting, right? Are you in a lease, that, something that where you can kind of, like I said, peel the layers off and just go a little bit deep.
Yeah. Does anyone ever do any networking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To find opportunities. Does anyone ever struggle with getting qualified opportunities in networking? So we can talk a little bit about that briefly. So has anyone ever heard of the form or Ford model? Show of hands. Looks like Frank maybe has, and I know TJ has. So I'm going to share this, not to necessarily teach the model, although you can learn the model in 2 minutes. But it's the principles we can then draw from that to kind of overlay onto what we're talking about. So form or Ford, it depends on the model. It's very, very similar. Ultimately, you want to get the other person talking. And this is where on the phone, you want to ask questions. You want to get the other person talking. And number one reason, because when you start asking questions and you get them talking, people like to talk about themselves and people like to talk about things that are important to them. So the form or Ford model, we'll choose form model, will help you to get them talking about things that they like. And immediately, subconsciously, this all happening in the subconscious brain. Remember, 95% of our daily actions and thoughts and whatever, that all happens, it's driven by your subconscious. So when they start talking to themselves, they start to feel good because they're talking about things that they're excited about or that are important to them. And when they feel good, remember what Maya Angelou says, people don't remember what you say, they don't remember what you do, but they always remember how you make them what? Feel, right? Yeah. Feel. That's a little call and response you can use with your audiences when you speak. So that's a whole nother topic. So they're going to attribute that feeling good to who? To you.
Me.
To me. Exactly. Yeah. Whoever's talking, right? Or whoever's asking the questions, I should say. They're going to attribute that feeling good to you. So again, people remember how you make them feel. So we want to ask them questions like, hey, where are you from? Really, really simple. Where are you from? And tell me a little bit more about that, right? It's a great question. Tell me more about that. You want to resist the urge to too many times say, oh, I know somebody there, because then you're taking the stage back. Even if you can build a bridge there, resist the urge a little bit, because a lot of people teach, build a bridge every time there's a connection, every time there's a similarity, build a bridge. It's too much, because then you're doing all the talking. Get them talking. Oh, and then F is also family. Oh, do you have any kids? Are you married? Right. Family, right? Get them talking about their family. Oh my goodness, their grandkids or their fur babies. It's another F. You can't get them to stop talking, especially in a live environment, right? They're showing you pictures on their phone. Oh, what about this one? This one, you're like, oh my goodness, right? But just get them talking, and then you can make a little connection there, but stay on task. Stay on task, right? And the most important thing to all this, by the way, is you're not doing this with the agenda of getting clients, because that is inauthentic. Do this with the agenda of you just want to be of service and you want to connect with people authentically. The business will come naturally from that way of being. Okay. So that's F. R is recreation. Like, what do you like to do for fun? This has nothing to do with real estate, does it? Nothing. Zero. But people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So that's the most important thing. Not having commission breath, searching for the property or the buyer, right? It's like you want to build connections. Real estate is a what kind of business? Real relationship, right? Relationship business.
I'm trying not to be the only one that responds.
Yes. So R is recreation. What do they love to do, right? O, I'm sorry, form, occupation. What do they do for work? I forgot about that one.
Mhm.
O is occupation. What do they do for work? Or what business are you in? How did I forget O? What business are you in is a great question to ask at a networking event, even if they're not a business owner, because it includes everyone and it kind of makes you feel good if you're, oh, I'm in the transportation business, right? I work for the bus company, right? So what business are you in is a great question to ask either way, no matter what. And then you want to tell me more, and then recreation, right? I did those a little out of order. And then M is motivation, right? And if you're using D, it's desire. This is your motivation. This is your passions. This is what like keeps you up at night. What are the causes you give to? You want to drill down on their passions, their motivations, their dreams, their desires, right? Because when you get somebody talking about their passions or the things that they love or the things that they care deeply about, or they care about animals, or they care about curing homelessness or whatever it is, or taking care of their families, they're going to talk for a while. And that's okay. And then after about 15 minutes, right, you want to obviously have some tact at keeping the conversation moving. You don't want to sit there and spend the whole hour talking to one person. You want to get in and move on to the next person. But again, do it from a space of genuine, authentic, caring, and looking for opportunities to give them value, even if it has nothing to do with real estate. And eventually, what are they going to ask you? They're going to say, oh my goodness, I just realized I've been talking this whole time. What is it that you do? Right? And it doesn't matter what you say at this point, they've already attributed no liking and trusting you. So immediately, every single person on the planet knows somebody who's likely either buying or selling a home, right? Or is another connection in the real estate space that might be useful for you. So that's where you want to actually share. And I would not go in with, does everyone have an elevator pitch? Who has an elevator pitch? Does anyone not have an elevator pitch?
Yeah, I have one, but it's
I
not
don't have
very
one.
good.
Come on, y'all. You got to have an elevator pitch. My goodness, this is, and elevator pitches are kind of dead. You don't want to just come out and just boom, elevator pitch, like smack them in the face. I would instead write this down. I would call it an interest creating remark. You want to have an interest creating remark, right? And this again is a pattern interrupt. Most people are going to expect you to say what? I help target market, whoever that is, and you might write this down as well, because it's not bad to have an elevator pitch. I help target market, right? Overcome usually is the word. Big problem.
It's funny you say that, Clinton, just to back up you. First off, hi, I'm Josh. I'm tuning in late. But so on all my social media posts and everything else, one of my investor friends, he said, this is what you're going to put as your tagline on everything you post. And that is, we help investors build $1 million portfolios.
That's
Now,
fine.
real investors know that $1 million is nothing. Like that's what, 6
Right.
houses, but it doesn't matter because those investors aren't using real estate agents. But for all the people who are looking to go from no investment properties to the first 5 investment properties, saying that number, and sure as the world, it has made all the difference. By people go, well, what do you do better than anyone else? Well, we help new investors build $1 million portfolios. That's what we do, and we do it the
Awesome.
best in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. That's great, Josh. So just to finish out the formula, it's so they can, and then it's big benefit at the end, right? That's the typical elevator pitch formula. And absolutely, you can put that on your LinkedIn or your marketing or wherever. But when you're in a networking event, you typically don't want to come right out of the gate and say it. Instead, you want to use these words. You want to say, you know how, and this is typically somebody that's in the industry or somebody that's in the space, and they might relate to the pain. Do you know how Avatar is just your target market, has XYZ pain? Do you know how people, a lot of times they try to buy houses and they have whatever the pains are. You guys know the pains more than I do. Experience blank, blank, and blank. Well, what I do is, and then you go into your elevator pitch. What I do is I actually work with them and I help them, get the proper whatever, knowledge or whatever resources so that they can actually buy their dream home, or so that I can help, investors get access to more properties so that they can be the first dog at the bowl, right? And actually get that property, right? Or build their portfolio, whatever it is. But it's just a little sentence you say before that elevator pitch. Do you know how Avatar has blank pain? Well, what I do is I solve that pain, basically. And you can and you could just say, I solve that pain. They're like, well, how do you do that? and then you've got them. And then then you can go in and actually share. And that's where an old trick I would actually, if they are truly a prospect, I might say, you know what, I'm running a little bit late right now, but what it might be a good idea, and this is if you can't like close the deal in one sitting, what you should do, you want to schedule a time, let's schedule a time for us to actually chat where we can sit down and really dig into this. How does later on this afternoon at 4 p.m. sound? Or how does tomorrow at blank? So now you've left them wanting more and you've got them scheduled. Now, if it's something where you can close the deal in one sitting and in that moment, then just do it right there on the spot. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So was that useful understanding sort of the form model of building rapport and then the elevator pitch at the end? Was that useful? Or what questions do you have about that or comments?
So we work with buyers and sellers, so that might be a different thing. You know what I mean? So my challenge is like keeping it straight. You know what I mean? Like, and I get involved and I get into conversation of like, if somebody is, for example, maybe their recreation is they like to run and sign up for trail races. Like I'm going to forget, like I'm there at a networking event. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, me too. And I'm going to go deep into that. So I don't know, like maybe this might not really, it goes along the lines of communication, but what are the tricks you have to kind of stay on task? Because and there's a lot of emotions and there's a lot of like we start to do this like hierarchy game in our mind when we're at networking events, unless we're really skilled at it. So how do you build that skill to stay on track and every word is intentional? Because it can be exhausting sometimes if you're really trying to practice it.
Yeah. Well, you just said the word.
Practice.
Every word is intentional. You said two of the words. You said the two words that are the answers. First of all, you got to get the reps. You just got to go out and do it. You got to be in the world of performance instead of talking about it or thinking about it. You got to actually go out and do it a number of times, because every time you do it, you're going to deepen your level of awareness. And that's the basic building block of growth, is awareness. Deepen your level of awareness by having repetition. Repetitions, and then also hire somebody like TJ or whoever you can that's a coach that can actually support you around getting better, listening to your phone calls and helping role play with you and helping you to get those reps, because the more reps you get, the more actual awareness you're going to have. And that's where you're going to develop a level of capacity and ability. And then also, before you go on any call, or before you go into any networking event, you want to set an intention. Set an intention. Again, this is where you want to be absolutely authentic and genuine. It's not an agenda. An agenda is kind of like a dirty word. Like, I'm going in to get a seller or a buyer or whatever. It's like, that's kind of commission breathy, right? But instead, set an intention. My intention is to be someone of value, someone of service, and to be positioned as an expert in the marketplace. And the outcome that I'm committed to is I'm committed to attracting 3 people that are great referral partners for my business today. And then just forget it. And then just go in and be of service, be of value, go through the form process, and don't allow yourself to get too carried away. I talk about pickleball the same way you talk about running, right? I'll just go on and on and on, but you got to know, right? You've got to source opportunities, and you do that by asking them questions about their situation. If you're in a space where you're trying to look for people that are selling their properties or buying for that matter, start to ask them, drill down a little bit more on the F, where are you from, and their family, where do they live? And, you could start asking them about their living situation as well. I don't know if you ever get into conversations about that. Like, do you like living? Oh, you're in Serrano Mesa. Do you like it there? Tell me a little bit about where you live. Okay, awesome. Oh, you live in a home that, oh, okay, it's an older home. Okay, great. You must be excited. I mean, you've lived there 7 years. You must love it, right? So that's another kind of reverse psychology thing that you can do. If somebody ever says, you want to ask, well, how long have you been there? If it's anything over a couple of years, oh, wow, you've been there for a while. You must love it. Most people don't love their situation, right? One that I used to use a lot, and I got elements of this from, Chris Voss, the FBI dude, is, no, actually, I got this from another guy. You might want to check this dude out. His name is Jeremy Miner. The dude's awesome in sales. And he's like, are you I'm just curious, are you 100% satisfied with your situation? And he'll do it with all the pauses, like very intentionally, almost like a confused old man. That's what he calls it, his confused old man approach. But it totally works, because guess what? Nobody on the planet is 100% satisfied with just about anything. Now, if you just say, are you happy with your thing? They'd be like, yeah, because most people aren't going to complain, or they're not going to cause waves. But when you but you want them to say, no, I'm not, because guess what that does? That opens up a crack of pain that you can explore further to see if that pain leads to your solution. If you can solve that pain, if that pain has anything to do with their housing, are you 100% satisfied? I'm just curious. Nobody's 100% satisfied. They're going to say, no, not really. And they're either going to just spill the beans and go right into, oh my goodness, yeah, the roof leaks and this and that, and you've been looking for a while. Now you've got an opportunity to really drill down further, right? So the 100% satisfied, that's something that I would consider deploying immediately.
Yeah. Well, something that just came up for me in that is, I love being in a position where I find out what people's challenges are. And then if I can't solve it, I connect them with somebody who can. So maybe it's, you mentioned roof, maybe like, my roof's huge and I know it's going to be expensive. Have you talked to a roofer? Do you have a good roofer?
Yeah.
No, I'm putting it off. I'm afraid of what they're going to say. Like, listen, get in contact with my guy. I'm going to text you his stuff right now. You tell him I sent you. He'll be great. And then you can go into it. Like, is it, what else is there? What would it look like if you just sold the house and, moved to a spot that didn't have so much maintenance that you had to, that's obviously weighing on you. I'm going in like very specific,
A great communication tip that you can use right there is write down the words, I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Would you consider actually selling your house if you were to be able to get into like a house where you didn't have that roof problem? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Right. That is an absolute disarming. Those are words that disarm people. I'm just curious. And the key to remember on all this is it's hard when you're in 100% commission sales. I've been in commission sales for 30 years, right? So I get it 100%. And, commission, I keep using the word commission breath. It's kind of a goofy term, but where you're like, oh, I got to make a sale this month. That is like the worst place you can be, right? So do whatever you can to stay out of that zone, whether it's meditation, exercise, like positive thinking, hire a coach, whatever you got to do to stay positive. But people feel that, right? And remember, people always remember how you make them feel. So you want to get extra alert and conscious of and intentional of managing your way of being before any interaction. Even if you have to do like Tony Robbins calls it a state change, where, all right, you create who the person is for you. They're somebody who's in need. And who are you? I'm a lighthouse of knowledge and wisdom. And that's who I'm going to be on this call. Boom, let's go. Who are you going to be? Don't worry about what you're going to say. Who are you going to be? And you can utilize some of these techniques that we're talking about. But in any interaction, you want to elevate yourself as an expert. And you don't do that by bragging about what it is that you do. You do it by some of the things we've already shared, weaving in little nuggets and knowledge, getting curious about their pain and using some of the questioning techniques that we've talked about to get them to talk about their pain, and then provide resources. Like TJ said, even if you're not the right solution, oh my goodness, I've got this great person that can help you. Would you mind if I connected you? Be of value in your community, because when you do that, you get elevated into that trusted advisor role and out of the salesperson role. You want to become a trusted advisor. And this is why I'm a huge advocate for anyone in the real estate space, real estate professionals who are willing to overcome and have courage. I don't know if you can see that word on my microphone here. Have courage to go out and speak and get on stages, because there's no better way to market and sell anything, including yourself, and elevate your stature in the marketplace and your local community, than being on stage. Even if it's on a podcast, on a Zoom like this with 4 people, or on a big stage with 100 people at a RIA event, right? Wherever you can do that. Warren Buffett, big real estate guy and just business guy in general, 4th wealthiest person in the world. Last time I checked, he says that speaking, the ability to speak, I don't mean becoming a professional paid speaker. I don't mean being perfect on stage. I mean being effective on stage is the number one skill that every solopreneur like us, or really everybody, even in corporate America, should learn in today's day and age. He said it's the number one skill, and he said being effective speaking and being able to push the right buttons from stage and be confident on stage and drive outcomes on stage will increase your career value by over 50%. This is Warren Buffett. This isn't me. This is Warren Buffett saying this. And I 1,000% agree. So a lot of real estate professionals will come to me and I will coach them one-on-one to actually become effective from stage, even if it's from, at a RIA event or on a Zoom or just with their team, so that they can actually have the confidence to ask for what they want and be able to get that audience to say, I have that pain, and holy cow, Clinton is the guy that can solve it. And I didn't even tell him anything about my solution. I just talked about the pain. One last thing I'll share, and then I'll turn it back to TJ for any other questions, is fall in love with your audience's pain, and in your case, your client's pain, more than your solution. You already know your solution. Don't talk about your solution. Talk about the pain. When you can articulate the pain and communicate the pain better than your actual clients, they don't care about the solution. They care about their pain. That's what keeps them up. Can you solve their pain? Great. I don't care how you do it. I don't care how electricity works. As long as when I push the button, the light turns on. Right? So don't fall in love with your solution. And these are all the facts and feature. Ask questions and fall in love with the pain and understand that pain better than anyone, and understand how to ask the questions to elicit them saying the pain, because they're educating themselves in the moment and they attribute that feeling good to you and that knowledge to you as the trusted advisor. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. That's great. That's good. That's a golden nugget right there, because I fall into that all the time. It's like, I have the solution. Yeah. And I want them to finish talking because I already know their pain and I know I have the solution. So I wrap it up because I got the solution for you. Let's go. Let's get this deal done, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's good to have that.
Resist that and indulge in the pain a little bit more. Ask more questions to get them to communicate all the corners of the pain, paint the full entire picture of that pain. And then they're going to ask you, what do you do? And you can tell them, or you can say, well, would you like help solving that challenge? Yeah. Right.
Love it. That's such good questions, or such good advice. ClintonYoung.com. Very easy to remember. Well, how else could we hold you? Is that the best way to go to the website?
Yeah, absolutely. Some people want me to speak to their teams like this as an example, or their brokerage, or maybe their company. If you're listening to this and you work with a company, you're holding a conference, absolutely go to ClintonYoung.com and you can inquire whether I'm available for a speaking opportunity. And then a lot of people want to work with me one-on-one. I'm working with some of the top loan officers. And again, I work with real estate agents as well, all across the country, who want to utilize speaking. And guess what? Check this out. Getting leads is great. But like TJ said earlier, you can get leads, you could buy leads. That's great. But what about if you went out and you actually spoke for free? You could get paid as well, by the way. I could teach you that too. But let's just go and speak for free in an audience where you likely will have some great prospects in the audience. And now you're getting leads for free instead of paying for them. But more importantly, you're immediately elevating yourself in their minds as an expert in your community. So now they already know, like, and trust you just by the mere fact that you hold the mic. He or she with the microphone always has the opportunity to have the most influence. And they typically make the most money as well. Because guess what? Most people aren't willing to get on stage. People are more scared of dying by fire than they are public speaking. Did y'all know that? But when you can break through that fear, and I have a whole model that I can teach you of how to incrementally learn and grow, and even some of the biggest introverts become some of the best speakers, right? There's a whole model of you, because confidence is a skill, not a trait. And all it is developing confidence that you have the ability to get up and ask for what you want, ask the audience the right thing. So if anybody wants to work with me, or you just want to get some free tips, you can go to worldclassspeakersecrets.com. Write that down, worldclassspeakersecrets.com. Every single one of you can get these secrets for free. These are my top 7 speaker secrets that anybody can use to become world-class from stage. And all that means is effective. That's all I mean by world-class, effective, right? So if you want to grab those secrets, you can download that. It's like a 12 or 13 page PDF. It goes through every single one of them in great detail. And then there's a very small percentage of the people that are listening here or viewing this that are going to want to work with me one-on-one. And if that's you, you'll be directed to a video page where you can listen to a short video from me. And if you're the right type of person, then schedule a one-on-one call with me, and we'll see if it's a good fit for me to work with you and help you grow your business using speaking as a growth lever.
I had the opportunity to have you coach me for a little while. I don't know how long it was. It was several months, put it that way.
Several months.
And it's there. Everything that I learned in the group and just talking to you one-on-one is I still use it today. Remembering and getting the reps in is important.
That's
but I
key.
still remember, I still use it. And you're actually the reason that I bought a PA. I bought my own microphone so that I didn't have to ask other people to give me a microphone. So it's fun. It definitely, I do events today because of what I learned with you. So it's definitely, and Josh and Rachel, they have a local RIA that they put on once a month. So I think everybody on the call here understands that if you can get in front of an audience and just that it's like a magic wand of authority, that microphone is a very powerful tool.
100%.
For sure. Well, cool. Any other questions for Clinton before we wrap it up?
No, that was great.
Was this useful?
Yes.
Yeah. Highly useful. Fireworks. Nice.
Fireworks, baby. You must have been. All right. Well,
Nice.
It's my pleasure to be here. So great. TJ, you're awesome. And I love your leadership, and it was really fun to contribute to your audience.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And if you want to get on the live, I know we're at the very end who was watching on YouTube still, but if you want to get on the live call, go to thereagenthive.com and just register there, and you'll get all the info and resources from the Hive. So thanks so much for tuning in and joining us live.
Bye, y'all.
All right, kill the recording.